Yeah. Here I am skidding around. Oh, cool. Holy crap. I can go a long way. Okay, I couldn't go as far as I thought. The Penitent's Crossing. Pilgrims seeking to visit the Temple of Sacred Ashes are allowed to ride as far as the bridge known as Penitent's Crossing. Then, whether they be sick or healthy, young or aged, the pilgrims are expected to walk by the temple's sisters who supervise the bridge. All but the very sick and old are asked to shed heavy coats as they cross the bridge, allowing the cutting wind to strip prideful fixation upon this world from the flesh. The bridge is also of significant military value, used especially for these purposes in the years since the Fifth Blight. As a choke point against bandits, rebels, or even darkspawn stragglers, the bridge serves as a defensible fortification to protect the Temple of Sacred Ashes from threats. From Walking the Chant by Sister Dorcas Guerin. The Guerins have been all over the place, that's for sure. That's a lot of dead people. Well, not as many as it could have been, but why they are still just lying about here, I don't know. You'd think we would have taken care of them by now. But no, just lying there. Sounds too. I feel so bad. Oh, I'm so sorry, little nugs. Pause.
Most of them should be pulling plows.
Didn't all grow up with fancy no horses on the back.
We've got scattered reports of Tevinter sightings in the hinterlands.
Mages?
And their servants, yes. They might be connected to the attack on the Conclave.
Assumption Scout Helene. No Circle Mage has ever caused anything like the breach.
Fair point.
Not much change since I was hospitalized.
What kind of name is Charter, anyway? Doesn't sound elven.
I said you could call me that, Scout Helene. I never said it was my name.
You're a bit terrifying at times, Charter.
Why? Because you're realising that every elf you casually call Knife here might have a life you know nothing about?
I was hoping you'd forgotten about that.
In this line of work, we can afford to forget nothing.
Knife ear indeed. That's just so rude.
We'll need some of your cloth for that.
This place is huge.
Been a while since I built one of these. Prayed to the Maker that I'd never have to build another.
I guess the Maker paid you as much attention as he pays everyone else.
Don't talk like that, boy. I lived through the siege of Dennerden by the Maker's grace.
Construction orders. As you know from the terrible accidents of last week, many passages through the mountain are unstable and liable to collapse at any moment. I do not wish us to lose more brothers and sisters in the search for lost cultist treasure. We must seal all entrances into the mountain. The Templars have done a careful sweep of the caves. Everything of worth was collected. What remains of the disciples of Andrasto will be forgotten, buried in the earth. Once it is done, let us have no more talk of them. This is New Haven, restored to life by Truth Chantry and Most Holy Justinia V. Mother
We're doing
Florentine.
the Maker's work in the Inquisition. If we get out of a hard fight alive, we'll thank him kindly for it.
Well, faith is a strong ally when you use it the right way, so... Witherstalk. Not sure what I'm gonna use that for, but... How much? Okay, I'm halfway in space. Just need...
Light a thing up, I can pivot. No telling which direction it'll be coming from.
Why are you so worried, sir? You're getting more soldiers every day.
Siege equipment in Thedas. Siege weaponry has been used in Thedas for centuries, with primitive equipment used as far back as in the Third Blight. Nevertheless, it occupies a peculiar niche in the tools of warfare due to its requirements. Any army wishing to produce trebuchets or catapults must be funded and organized well enough to procure both the necessary materials and the military experts to construct them. Throughout history, most armies who fulfilled such requirements did not take advantage of the situation. During the Third Blight, for example, Arlesons and Montsemard constructed catapults to fling flaming debris at the Darkspawn, but the expense of weapons did not justify the limited damage they caused, and the Darkspawns were ultimately driven back by the Grey Wardens, not siege weaponry. Tevinter forces similarly had the resources to construct siege weapons when attacking the Free Marchers or defending themselves against the Exalted Marchers of the Black Age. Instead, Imperium focused primarily upon the power of its magisters, who were less powerful but more flexible than siege equipment, and who could more easily fall back when the tide of battle turned. As a result, in the battles against the Qunari in the Steel Age, generals found to their chagrin that the Great Oxman had left them behind. Qunari black powder is, most military experts agree, not magic. It is merely an advanced alchemy that makes their cannon more effective than any trebuchets could ever be. Nevertheless, there remains hope. As centuries have passed since the last blight, and mages are now safely held in the circles where they harm none, the experts of Ferelden and Orlais may once again turn their greatest mind to learning. We need no magic, not where the minds of men survive unfettered. With our resources and our commitment to knowledge, we can easily surpass the brutal Qunari on the field of battle. From Khun, Gurns and Steel, Military Conflict in a Post-Blight Thedas, written 929 Dragon, shortly before the start of the Fifth Blight.
In a town that was never meant to be a fortress. We'll need the Maker's own blessing to defend this place, boy. Then the battle.
Well, that's kind of interesting, though, especially considering... I like that the Qunari are actually really, really sophisticated in a lot of ways, whereas most of the...
Master Harrod said we weren't to sell Inquisition blades. What Harrod doesn't know won't hurt him.
Well, I was saying, well, most of the people in... other people in Thedas seem to think that they're just barbarians.
Good day. Or good as it could be with the sky ripped apart.
You must speak with most everyone here. How are people doing?
Hope and fear in equal measure. No one really knows what it means when an Inquisition is called. Yet. And everyone's sort of digesting the idea of a dwarf maybe, possibly, being sent by Andraste herself. It's, not really what anyone was expecting. Yourself included, I wager.
What kind of person stays to run a shop at a time like this?
The kind with nowhere else to go. Those blasted demons destroyed most of my goods. If I stay here, work some contacts, I can start rebuilding. Maybe, just maybe, help you folks out in the process.
Well, sounds good.
Can I see what you have for sale?
Of course. My wares are at the table.
Yeah, no. Don't think that we got any new ones there. Nope. You don't need weapons. Nice. There we go. Solas. Yeah, let's do that. More armor is always good because he seems to be taking quite a lot of damage for whatever reason. Actually, what the hell? You should be using that, considering. There we go. To be honest, that's a lot better. Spirit resistance. What belt does you have? Guard maximum. Yeah, there we go. Better. There we go. Close. Buy and sell. There we go. Go. There we go. Now we should have a little bit more space again, hopefully. Hey, Varric! What's up, dude?
So, now that Cassandra's out of earshot, are you holding up all right? I mean, you go from being the most wanted criminal in Thedas to joining the armies of the faithful. Most people would have spread that out over more than one day.
Well,
I don't even want to think about how many lives were lost on that mountaintop.
A lot of good men and women didn't make it out of there. For days now, we've been staring at the breach, watching demons and maker knows what fall out of it. Bad for morale would be an understatement. I still can't believe anyone was in there and lived.
If it was that bad, why did you stay? Cassandra said you were free to go.
I like to think I'm as selfish and irresponsible as the next guy, but this... Thousands of people died on that mountain. I was almost one of them. And now there's a hole in the sky. Even I can't walk away and just leave that to sort itself out.
Well, we do need to close the breach.
The breach needs to be sealed. The sooner the better.
If it can be sealed, you might want to consider running at the first opportunity. I've written enough tragedies to recognize where this is going. Heroes are everywhere. I've seen that. But the hole in the sky... that's beyond heroes. We're going to need a miracle.
Well...
Need something?
I've read your Tale of the Champion, and I have a few questions.
That's a pretty common reaction. Go ahead.
Where are the rest of Hawk's associates now?
Meryl decided to look after the elves left homeless by the fighting. She's done a pretty good job of keeping them away from the mages and Templars, so far. I guess she has plenty of practice avoiding stupid human battles with her old Dalish clan. Fenris has kept himself busy, hunting down the Tevinter slavers who came south to prey on the refugees. I'm not sure exactly where he is at the moment. You can usually follow the trail of corpses, though. Isabella went back to the raiders. She's calling herself an admiral now. I don't know if she's actually in charge or just has a really big hat. Might be the same thing, honestly. Sebastian went back to Starkhaven. I'm sure he's boring all sorts of people there. Aveline is still guard captain. I'm pretty sure Kirkwall would fall into the sea if she quit her job.
That's true.
Need something?
I've read your Tale of the Champion, and I have a few questions.
That's a pretty common reaction. Go ahead.
So...
There's no way Hawk really could have killed the Arashok. It would have started a war with the Kunari.
I was told later that the Kunari disavowed his actions. Apparently the Arashok didn't get permission before he attacked Kirkwall, and the Qun didn't want another exalted march. When they finally sent a ship to haul the Red Dreadnought away, they just said, "We will never speak of this again." As far as I can tell, that's the Qun's version of an apology.
In the book, you say that first enchanter Orsino turned himself into a giant monster made of corpses. How? Why?
Do I look like an expert on magical weirdness to you? Well, I can't tell you how. For the why, all I can say is he was desperate.
What happened to the mage who destroyed the Kirkwall Chantry? The book never said.
He fled Kirkwall with the mages from the Circle. Stayed with them a while, but he had to move on. Somehow a lot of mages blamed him for making them live as fugitives. I don't know where he is now, and I don't want to know.
Well, I can see why you wouldn't want to know.
Carry on.
No, but I want to...
Need something?
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient Tig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard. It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly, but you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid, and then it does creepy shit. Makes things float, brings statues to life. It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the tag it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the deep roads? That's not a cheery thought.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
Yeah, I can see that.
Need something?
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Are you from Ferelden? Or Ley?
Free Marches, born and raised in Kirkwall. And despite whatever you've heard, no, Kirkwall's not that bad.
I'm not clear on your line of work. You're a merchant?
I'm a businessman. My family has a seat in the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Merchants buy and sell goods. Businessmen buy and sell stores. In my spare time, I manage a spy network, and occasionally, I write books.
If you run a spy network, why is Liliana our spy master?
To be honest with you, she's just a better spy master. The truly great ones can keep their distance. They don't get attached to their people. Me, I always wind up babysitting my informants and worrying about their families. We're in better hands with her.
Aww.
You're an author. What kind of books have you written?
I've tried my hands at a few genres. My crime serials are my most popular. Hard in Hightown, guards breaking the rules to get things done. The Tale of the Champion is the most famous thing I've written, or infamous maybe. I started a romance serial once, Swords and Shields, but to be honest, I don't have a knack for romances. Most of my stories end in tragedy. Probably that says something unfortunate about me personally.
Aww.
What sort of shops do you own?
Actually, we don't own shops. That was just an example. Mostly we invest in moneylenders. Auction houses, a few mercenary companies, a couple of smithies. I think we own half a beet plantation in Ravane somewhere. Most of that's my brother's doing. Bartrand had business sense. Not much tact, but loads of business sense.
Aww.
Where did you get that crossbow? I've never seen one like it.
Bianca? She's one of a kind. I won her from Paragon Smith Bronca in a game of Wicked Grace. She was such a sore loser. Ran off to the deep roads in a huff, and that was the last anyone saw of her.
Who is she named for?
I can't tell you.
Aw, why not?
And the reason for that is...
Complicated. It's the one story I'll never tell. We just have to leave it at that.
Aw.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem. Need something?
I just want to flirt with him to see what he'd say. I know he's gonna
Can I
brush
ask
it
you
off,
something, Varric?
but
You want to talk
I
about
still
me?
want to...
I'm
I just
flattered.
want it to happen.
Also inclined
Just so I
toward
can see it.
extravagant lies.
How do you and Cassandra know each other?
You heard about the Kirkwall Chantry being destroyed? The guy responsible used to be a friend of mine. The Seeker had questions about that, and I had answers.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem. Need something?
I guess that is all.
Carry on.
I want so badly just to flirt with Varric, just for the heck of it. But... it's not gonna happen, is it? Varric, why must you tug on my heartstrings?
All men
When will you be able to get us the crafting supplies we need?
When they're ready. Piss off.
Best answer ever.
If you've got lyrium to sell, Commander Cullen is handling all purchases. Oh, you're her. Thren, Inquisition Quartermaster. I'm doing what I can to supply this mess. If you find what I need to fill one of my requisitions, I'd appreciate you bringing it in.
How does someone end up as quartermaster for the Inquisition?
I served for Eldon under Ten Loghain MacTier. Best commanding officer this world has ever seen. After they all turned on him at Denerim, though, there wasn't much use for people who held that opinion. Queen Honora offered my services to the Inquisition. It was a kindness. She knew I supported her father and got me away from the political garbage.
Well,
That attitude, I can't imagine how you made enemies in Denerim.
People just don't want to hear the truth. I was at Ostagar, and I know what really happened. King Cailan overextended his position, and the Grey Wardens were too late lighting a signal. Following the original plan would have gotten everyone killed. Ten Loghain made the right decision. I apologize. Sister Liliana told me I shouldn't talk about this. Just forget it.
What do you do here?
I make sure the Inquisition troops have food in their bellies and iron in their hands. Both are important. Lots of people expecting us to be heroes, marching all day to fight the demons. Turns out heroes need to dig latrines just like everyone else.
What did you mean when you mentioned requisitions?
I'm making this Inquisition run with what we have, but we're not a real army. We're stretched thin on materials, so I've put up a requisition list for anything that could help our people. Here, take a look. You find some iron and a good login site. Maybe Harriet can get our troops better weapons.
If I have material for a special order, do I bring it to you?
Just take it over there. One of my boys will take the materials or jot down what you found.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
well, that's good though. Can I? Can't do it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yes, we can do this. Yeah. What do we need? Logging stand. Okay.
The Inquisition can use that.
Oh! Hey, Liliana.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood? To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing?
You speak for Andraste, no? What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
How is this a game?
Do you see the sky? What about the temple ruins? The bones lying in the dust? Even if you didn't support the Divine's peace, you wouldn't call this right. Who could? So many innocent lives. The faithful murdered where the holiest of holies once stood. If the Maker willed this, what is it if not a game or a cruel joke?
Don't ask me. I'm as baffled as you are.
You probably don't even worship the Maker. Lucky. He asks a lot. The Chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
I'm sorry. Her death has clearly hit you hard.
Not just me. All of us. She was the Divine. She led the faithful. She was their heart. If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he? I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the Divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
Maybe you have another purpose. I could help you find it.
No, this is my burden. I regret that I even let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come. To work, then. We will speak later.
Aw, poor Liliana. I wish Ardis would see if she could help her.
True. Butler has stand on us. I hope my hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports. There were so many questions surrounding Farria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Farria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Wait, what are you doing?
He betrayed us. He murdered my agent.
And you'd kill him, just like that.
You find fault with my decision?
If he has knowledge, then he's a resource. Use him.
He's a loose end who could escape and get word to our enemies. Butler's betrayal put our agents in danger. I condemned one man to save dozens. I may not like what I do, but it must be done. I cannot afford the luxury of ideals at a time like this.
Now is precisely the time for ideals.
You feel very strongly about this. Very well. I will think of another way to deal with this man. Apprehend Butler, but see that he lives. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do.
Well, if you're gonna fight, if you don't have ideals, then what are you fighting for? And you shouldn't...
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
As I said, you need ideals if you're gonna fight for something. But just make sure your ideals are good ideals. Because otherwise it's all for naught.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
Can you teach me to be a bard?
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics, the ebb and flow of influence, the great game. The Bard's is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Or
I
go
should
to
leave you
Barrack.
your work.
We can always talk later. Did you need something?
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did. What of it?
What exactly does the left hand of the Divine do?
A Divine always has enemies, and Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life. Unlike many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy. And because they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
So you were her spy master, too.
I handled difficult situations that couldn't be resolved through more delicate means.
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken. Lost. And she saved me. No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
Was there something more than friendship between you?
You're asking if we were lovers? Typical. I was devoted to her, therefore it must be romantic. Love is common. Love is simple. My bond with Justinia was something greater. She was a sister, a mother, a teacher. So to answer your question, yes, it was more than friendship.
We'll talk more later.
Yes?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You have a history with the warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
She's always in my thoughts. Even when we're far apart. My love is on a quest of her own. When the Inquisition has no further need of me, I will join her. For good this time. I have lost enough. I will not lose her as well.
Aww.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hog twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly. I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Royeaux who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
Aww.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am. Did you need something?
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
I'll leave you to your work.
Yeah. Don't go away.
I'm listening.
I want to see what Josephine
You seem
was
to know a
about.
great many people.
I have made friends. And on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago. But we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Royeaux, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... all right. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
You naughty Naughty woman. Oh, jeebus.
Your kind killed the most holy.
Lies. Your kind let her die.
Shut your mouth, mate!
Enough!
Knight Captain.
That is not my title. We are not Templars any longer. We are all part of the Inquisition.
And what does that mean, exactly?
Back already, Chancellor. Haven't you done enough?
I'm curious, Commander, as to how your Inquisition and its herald will restore order as you've promised.
Of course you are. Back to your duties, all of you.
Well, what do you know? It's down here. Alright.
Thanks for checking anyway.
Can't really do anything there yet. I don't want to do. Can I? Sneaky dwarf. There we go.